What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. So we got Anthony Joshua versus Oleksandr Usyk this weekend, and we've spoken a lot about them because there was just a whole lot to say, a lot of responses, just different things that come up, and most of the conversation has been about Anthony Joshua's mental state. We had talks about Usyk's mental state, dealing with what was going on over there in the war and all this kind of stuff. So I'm going to just briefly give you my take before this fight happens. We've pretty much, said what we feel both guys need to do to be successful to secure that win. Now, let me say, Usyk has never, in any fight, showed any concerns of being insecure that he can't win the fight, unsure of himself, uncertain. Anthony Joshua has shown vulnerability. He has said things, even talking about praying and just doing his best. He's being honest. You can't bury him for that. But hopefully for Anthony Joshua, that Robert Garcia and company has been able to get him to understand what he needs to do to win. Now, according to Robert Garcia, he says he feels strongly that they're going to get the job done. And he said that Anthony Joshua is showing him that he does understand what he needs to do and that things have been going much better. From the time he started and watched the progression, that he feels confident that Anthony Joshua is going to, he's going to do it. Now, the thing about this fight that could work against Anthony Joshua is him saying he thinks the only way to win is a knockout. See, the problem is this. If he's in shape to go 12 rounds in a hard grueling fight, then that makes it better for him. But if it becomes a situation where he is doubting himself, because let's say if he doesn't get the knockout and it starts going to the later rounds, and does he start to get fatigued mentally, like, oh, man, I can't knock this guy out, am I behind on points? Like, he said he thought he was winning the first fight. I don't see how, but even in that, if he sat and watched that fight and saw how it played out, he clearly knows what he can't do. All of this talk about Usyk being different, the only thing, for Usyk has put, he did the same thing last fight, came in 231, so he did the same thing. It's not nothing new. And he showed that if he needs to get on his bike and move, that he will. And Usyk showed when he gets hit, not just the AJ fight. If Usyk gets cracked, he starts to retreat immediately. So the weight won't bother Usyk if he needs to move. I don't think he or anybody believes that Anthony Joshua is going to pressure him for 12 rounds. So him adding the weight is to absorb shots if you need to the body. And, adding weight is not going to make your chin stronger. But things like that, in case AJ tries to wrestle him back, put his weight on him and move him back and that type of thing. So if he has to get on his toes and move, I don't think the weight will bother him. It's when you do that, it's part of your battle plan. And strategically, he wants to be strong enough and have the size. And as for AJ doesn't look as heavy as he did, the same way he did in the last fight. But Usyk just has to be Usyk. Usyk is 36 years old. Usyk is not going to come in there with a whole different game plan. Like, we're going to see something we've never seen in Usyk. I doubt that very seriously. I think Usyk just needs to do what he needs to do. He definitely doesn't lack confidence. Um, I think Anthony Joshua, if, maybe he just said that for the cameras. Maybe he wants Usyk to think that's how he's thinking. Who knows? But for AJ, whenever someone tell you you can't do something, you have to do it this way, it doesn't always play out that way. Okay, we were told Pernell Whitaker wasn't going to be able to play with Chavez. They don't think his usual style is going to work. He's going to have to move a lot and not get hit with anything because Chavez hits that hard. He made Chavez look the same way he played with everybody else and pretty much got robbed because they called it a draw. And Pernell clearly won that fight. But, we were told he couldn't do that, and he did it. Um, Muhammad Ali wasn't supposed to beat Sonny Liston or George Foreman. No, this cocky kid with the big mouth. Oh, nah, Liston's too rugged, too much man for him. Nah, Liston's going to kill this kid. It's not what happened. Same thing with Foreman. Evander Holyfield, he's not going to be able to beat Ali the way he fights. Tyson, the way he fights, he's going to have to fight like Ali, get on his toes and move and not get hit with anything. It's only a matter of time because Holyfield's not going to be able to do that all night long. And as soon as Tyson touches him, he's gone. Okay? Teofimo Lopez wasn't supposed to be Lomachenko. He's just another kid that can fight, that's going to get in line and get schooled. And Loma's going to show everybody he's pound for pound. Loma's this and that. And, so we've been hearing this. Kambosos had no chance against Teofimo, right? You can't do this, you can't do that. So I'm saying all of that, and you guys know why. You're not shorting the brains, right? You get it. Because Anthony Joshua has been told he can't outbox Usyk. It's not about trying to outbox Usyk. You're trying to win a fight. So he has to put it together properly in the ring. I'm not going through all the breakdown again. He has to do this and do this, but mentally, that's his biggest weapon. Because if he's confident and he's understanding what he needs to do, then everything else should click. But if he is unsure of himself and, he's not really sure what he should be doing and how, then that could definitely work against him. But at the end of the day, he's going to try to beat Usyk. Usyk is going to try to beat him. And how the fight's going to play out, we will see. I'm not looking past if he beats Usyk, who's next. If Usyk beats him, who's next? We already know Tyson Fury's waiting in the wings. I'm not even going into, I told you guys already, Tyson Fury's not retired. He's sitting back waiting for the winner. We don't know, who's going to win the fight. Now, with Anthony Joshua saying he wants a knockout, there's nothing wrong with that. But to tell yourself the only way I can win is by knockout, I'm already down on the scorecards, is what he said. But I believe him saying that, too, is like he knows in people's heads. They feel like he can't outbox him. So it's not about focusing on everybody else. If Anthony Joshua wins on points, a win is a win. And he's earned his right to go after undisputed. Okay? He's been trying to do that all, from the time he became unified. But if he knocks Usyk out, and especially if he's winning the fight and knock him out, that just adds more credibility, more interest and intrigue in him versus Tyson Fury, because most people don't think that AJ can beat Usyk, and most people don't think he'll beat Tyson Fury. So if he, shock everyone and beat Usyk like he's supposed to, in my opinion, convincingly, and he gets him out of there, then it's like, oh shit, we didn't think he could do that. Now, of course, a lot of those same people, if not all of them, are going to say, oh, but he won't beat Tyson Fury. He beat Usyk, but he wouldn't beat Fury. Oh, Fury would have beat Usyk too. So you know how people are, they just switch from one thing to the next. So I think that if he does that, definitely. I know if he does that just adds more intrigue. And I say that because the winner, that's who Fury's waiting for. But if he wins, and wins conventionally and by knockout, now it's like, damn, it's more intrigue, because no matter what people say, they don't know. People are not always as brave as their words. And inside, they'll be thinking, man, it's going to be a good fight. I didn't think AJ had it in him, but I don't know. And, let's be clear on this. Usyk and Fury are two different fighters, man. So, people always talk about styles make fights. Yeah, or maybe Usyk's style bothers. I think technically overall that Usyk is a better fighter than Tyson Fury. I think Tyson Fury works behind his jab like he's supposed to. It's kind of like comparing Hearns to Leonard. Okay, I think Leonard was the better fighter overall, but Hearns knew how to stay tall and stay behind that stick. He threw power shots and he knew how to get you out of there. He knew how to keep you humble and give you something to worry about. Leonard could do that, but Leonard basically blinding hand speed, footwork, head movement, reflexes, so when you match them against each other, it basically is like, look at what happened. Hearn stayed behind his stick and was working behind that jab and was, everything was behind the jab. And it was a good fight. It was a great fight. And Leonard was losing on points. You're blowing it, kid. And he went in there and he got him out of there. So that's, it's like that comparison is like that with them. I think technically overall Usyk is a better fighter than Tyson Fury. That doesn't mean he beats Fury. Okay? I think Fury works behind that stick. He knows how to fight like a big man. He has the weight and the size. That doesn't mean he beats Usyk. We don't know. So, what I'm saying is, Fury may be an easier fight than Usyk for Tyson, for AJ stylistically. We don't know this, but this is what we want to see. I don't want to get into all this, what I think. I think he'll do this and that, because it really doesn't matter. What matters is what happens, what the end result will be. So when that happens, I'll be here giving you guys my analysis on it when breaking the fight down. But hopefully, it's, listen, when you want to see somebody win, you hope that they're going to destroy the guy, right? Because it makes people breathe easier when they, okay, he won. For me, I don't take it that serious. Now, I'm pulling for AJ to win, but may the best man win, whoever wins. And pretty much, if Anthony Joshua does win this fight, and he and Fury go in there and hook it up and get this fight on, we can say finally. So we know that that's the person waiting for the winner of these two. Now, as far as Wilder and the winner of Parker and Joe Joyce and all this, and we're not going to get into all of that. One fight at a time and just see the way things go. But just, like I said, if Robert Garcia and then the rest of the team is able to get through to Anthony Joshua, for him to understand what he needs to do and what he has to be willing to put himself through, to go through to get the win, then AJ should be okay. But, we will see. I'm looking forward to the fight. And hopefully the whole card is good. That's better for boxing when pretty much, all of the fights, or at least the majority of the fights, are good. Otherwise, it's like, well, why even have this fight? Just to fill up the card. So hopefully it's a good fight card, and that it's a great night for boxing. And we just got to take one card at a time. I don't think there's no one fight or no one fight card that's just going to change everything overnight. Because there's a lot of things that we want to see change in boxing for the better. So anyway, here's what it is. Usyk versus Joshua 2. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people. And I will catch y'all in the next video.